Tania, what are the ramifications that if religion was to be taken off the table when it comes to tackling terror?
Well, it would change the definition of terrorist act in its entirety if it was removed. I actually have some confidence with Michelle Rowland, our Attorney General. I actually read her speech when they announced this review, when the Independent National Security Legislation Monitor made the announcement. She did a speech. I felt her speech was very proportionate. I felt she made it clear that she wanted to balance safety. Yes, civil liberties are an issue, but safety was paramount. I felt very confident in her speech. The AG submission does not suggest change. ASIO is not suggesting change. No. AFP, no change. DFAT, no change. So all the Australian agencies are saying there shouldn't be any change to the definition of terrorist act. The Human Rights Commission, of course, have proposed to remove religion, as has the Victorian Human Rights Commission. I want to make an interesting note. New South Wales have made a submission, confidential, but I assumed that it would be in line with the Australian government. Interestingly, the Victorian government hasn't. So the only agency that made a submission for Victoria was the Human Rights Commission asking for a change. So I would have expected the Victorian government, given they've had terrorist incidences in Victoria, would have actually made a submission to this particular
that's extraordinary.
review.
And also, what a useless prop the Australian Human Rights Commission is. They don't know what a woman is. Now they want to change the definition of terror. It just goes on, and I just think they should be completely defunded. Now, this is extraordinary. Labor launched what it's calling an austerity drive, you might recall, in the public service this week, with hundreds of jobs to go because it's run out of your money. It's spent itself silly. And don't forget, it demonised Peter Dutton for promising to slash the public service during the election, and now it's done a copy and paste job. But now we find out that only a third of the nation's public service turns up to the office 5 days a week. In fact, full-time office attendance is as low as 1 in 10 in some government agencies. David, Labor has overseen a 25% increase in the public service. That's a record. And staff aren't even rocking up to the office?
This is a typical socialist approach to the economy. We just tax the bejesus out of everybody and try to buy votes in the public sector. And then, of course, close to the election, scare the public sector into voting Labor because they think that the nasty Tories are going to take their jobs away. We just can't afford it. And as Margaret Thatcher said, the problem with socialism is you run out of other people's money to give away. My concern about working from home is not necessarily the fact that people get into a position where that they have that flexibility. The private sector does it as well as the public sector. But there is the idea of parity and the idea of fairness. And if you've got one section of the working economy getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning and wandering downstairs with their pyjama pants still on, and how do you do that?
Justify it.
No, you can't.
You cannot justify it. And there's a record amount of government spending as it is right now. I don't think you can justify it. And how is it responsible, Tania?
Well, it's not responsible when business investment is down, productivity is down in Australia, we know that. And it's not responsible when you're draining resources away from the private sector because people look at the wages. Wages are much higher in the public sector. There are so many jobs. The conditions are great because you can work from home, of course. And that's taking away the resources that we need in the private sector where we really desperately need that investment to pick up our economy. That's the really big issue. I have to say, Katie Gallagher did announce a 5% efficiency savings at the beginning of the week, and which we thought would include job cuts. But then the week she's walked back on that. So I'm really disappointed that she's walked back on what was a great announcement.
Yeah, an austerity. Well, it was a positive austerity drive.
Yes.
And now,
exercise and discipline, she said.
Yeah, it
start of the week.
Into the never. David, one of my favourite parts of our week, your column in the Daily Telegraph about Christmas. What makes a silly season special in your view?
Well, I had to get a lot of things off my chest, particularly turkey.
I know.
Turkey
and Mariah Carey,
does my
very
head.
triggered.
I'm not a Mariah. I don't despise her, but I think it creates a lot of fights in most offices.
Yeah, right.
Working out how much is an appropriate level of Mariah Carey songs.
Yeah.
But I can. I still find it difficult to get excited about Christmas lights, of course, because I've...
come on.
No, me personally, because I've nearly electrocuted myself so many times because I can't meet the demands
That barbecue, you're a danger to yourself,
David. a fan of Mariah?
No. I can't go anywhere
come on,
near
you
that kind of
two.
music.
Really?
But I'm looking forward to Christmas carols. I do love just general Christmas
Yes,
carols.
I
Love
agree.
it. Love the lights.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not into turkey either. But like the shish kebab.
But you have your
my own
Christmas
sort
on
of,
the 6th, don't you?
On the 7th of January. But I have
Yes,
two
of course.
Christmases. I just enjoy Christmas for 2
You get
weeks.
half
Why
price.
not?
You get half price.
Why
Half price
not?
presents.
All right, well, we've only got a couple of weeks left before Christmas, and we look forward to your column next week, David. What are you going to
Yes.
entice us with this time? We're excited.
Next week will be the way that life proceeds. It'll be it's a work in progress. but
Philosophical.
It'll
All
be
right.
all of those things that we do in life that change us.
Okay, well,
Okay.
Tania and I are
We're
ready,
looking
and we
forward
are
to it.
both excited. Great to have you on, as always, David Elliott,
Thank
Tania
you.
Mihailuk. Have a
Thank
good
you.
weekend. Thanks for joining me.